It's the Wicker Leader Show with today's episode, In the Bag. Welcome back, everyone. Today we are going to be playing through Felix the Cat for the NES, a game that's often derided for being too easy, but you know what? I could use an easy game every now and then, I think. Something that's real quick and real easy to just blast right through. Game came out, the game was released late in the NES's life cycle, and it's mostly based on the 1960s cartoon of Felix the Cat, so it's the one that's really boring. But that's okay, this is a video game, and the video game just often will just ignore the boring stuff in the effort to make the game more interesting. So that's all fine by me. This game actually does have a story, and for once, even though it's an NES game, I don't have to talk about it. The game will actually tell you what's happening in the story as it happens. Fancy that. So, I haven't seen too much of the 60s version of Felix the Cat myself. I'm much more familiar with the original stuff and the Twisted Tales of Felix the Cat, which are both probably more worth watching. I don't know if I'd say better, especially the early 20s stuff is going to be really slow for some people, but I would say it's definitely more worth it to watch, at least from a historical standpoint. Skip the 60s Felix the Cat. It's really dull. The animation is poor. The jokes aren't really put well together at all. And at that point, they definitely should have known better. This game was re-released recently, but there are some changes made to it, mostly to remove one of the characters due to a rights dispute. So I'm going to be playing the original version instead. So without any further ado, let's just get right into it. Made by Hudson. Interesting. They have a high score like anyone cares. Well, let's just get this game started. So the professor has stolen Kitty Cat, Felix's girlfriend, and in the show, he was always trying to get Felix's magic bag, which was something they made up for the 60s version. And the bag can kind of do anything, but as a result, it's always like whatever he needs at that exact time, and most later Felix projects just kind of ignored it. So this is a very basic platformer, and a dang easy one too. As you collect these Felix tokens, you power up your bag. and you get new attacks. He has an anything bag? Yeah, he can, like, just will it to be whatever he needs it to be at any moment. And that's why the professor wants it. I don't know what the milk does, but they sure do like giving you a lot of it. This is gonna be a real short playthrough, I'll say that much. This game is easy as pie. Every time you get a heart, it also increases Felix's health by 1. Pocket dimension full of everything and anything. I'd have 2 nickels. No, it's not a pocket dimension. The bag itself transforms. Oh, I actually died. I actually took damage and died. Wow. Guess that's what I get for not looking below me. But I knew this game was going to be easy, because one time I went to a convention, and my brother was with me, and they had this game on one of the NESs there that you could try it out. Well, I go to look around at the rest of the convention, and I come back, and he had actually beaten it. So, it's a real simple game. I don't imagine I'm going to get a game over. But then again, nothing's impossible, and I am recording this. I blitzed through Mario 2 when I streamed it, but now I'm playing it for Achieves and it feels so long. When you streamed it, did you use the warps or did you play through the whole thing? Okay. Whole thing. Mm-hmm. So what are the achievements for it? Getting all the mushrooms. Oh. I see. It's one for doing the whole game exactly 5 times, so it's an even spread across all... Oh, you keep your power-up! Okay. I wasn't expected to be able to keep my power-up. I guess that's part of the reason why this game is so easy. And now I have a car. And I shoot bow. So now I have 3 hits. It looks like each transformation has a health bar that goes down with time. I guess when you run out, you go back to the previous stage. Never seen a Felix cartoon. What was he like? Well, he started in 1925, so back then he was basically just the guy. It was like him and maybe Coco the Clown and Farmer I'm a tank. And Farmer Alfalfa. So, like, he just kind of did anything. There was, just whatever they felt like doing. Like, one I saw, he had an episode, there was an episode where he traveled back in time to the days of dinosaurs, and that was just what he did that day. And it was all silent, and it was really early, so all the text was done, in title cards. And I think I agree with Disney on that one, where title cards kind of ruin the flow of the animation. And he was dedicated, and that's why when he did the Oswald cartoons, he was dedicated to making sure that the cartoons had no title cards. It just helps the animation speak for itself. In the 1960s, they added the magic bag, and the cartoons started to be all about people who would try to steal the bag from him, namely the professor and Poindexter, his nephew. it just became really formulaic. And then there was the one in the 90s, The Twisted Tales of Felix the Cat, which is a legitimately interesting and well-animated cartoon with lots of style. Definitely fitting during that time period when all these classic characters were coming back. And it turned what was a really basic, boring formula on its head and made it a lot better, if you ask me. But the answer is that he's one of the first cartoon stars ever, so he just kind of did whatever. Okay, I'm already getting a lot of lives. He started out as a more of an actual cat, like the first couple cartoons he was walking on all fours. The design we know for him as today started in the 50s. It's kind of hard to, like, really sell somebody on what Felix does, because what he does would change over the years constantly. You know, it was never anything really consistent with him. But if you're gonna watch any of his shows, I will recommend The Twisted Tales of Felix the Cat. That's a good one. That's really... They did interesting things with it. And the voice they chose for him in that movie gave him some... in that show, gave him some real spunk. That's Poindexter. These bosses are stupid easy. Well, that's that. The child exploded, yeah. So, I mentioned earlier that they re-released this game. And in the new version that they just re-released, Poindexter is gone, and that's because Poindexter is gone, and that's because Felix the Cat's rights were in the hands of one guy who went by the name of Don Oriolo, and for some reason he wouldn't let them use Poindexter. I don't know why. Oh, I died. Wow. So all times that you fought Poindexter in this game were replaced by the Professor instead. Oh, you can destroy those. Okay, I didn't know I could actually destroy those. Okay, a random block with a face on it doesn't really do anything. Felix is one of those characters who just kind of exists mostly as an icon in and of himself. Kind of similar to, like, I don't know, Hello Kitty as an example. Where the face is more important than anything he's actually been in. At least to the average bystander, you know? Doraemon does have, like, a Felix-y face, doesn't he? They weren't kidding. This game is really easy. But it is well made. You know, I can give it that. Soundtrack's kind of whatever. Nothing's really jumping out at me. Felix Magic Bag was also around by then. I was about to run out of health for this power-up, but then it just stopped. Oh, well, that was quick. Do I really need all that at the bottom of the screen? Looks like the boss for this level is gonna be, Rock Bottom. Rock Bottom's the name of that dog. What? These guys... Oh, okay. That wasn't him, that was just his face, I guess. Okay. That didn't do... Oh, I guess that was another special area that I hadn't been to yet. That, like, exits out there. Weird-looking Castlevania. It's supposed to be a pyramid. You know, that much is obvious. So I got a rule for myself for these cartoon games, at least for for the time being. I'm gonna try to avoid doing 2 Disney games in a row if I can help it. There are other options out there, but Disney has made so many games, and a lot of them are considered classics, and for good reason. But I want to show off some stuff that maybe people aren't as familiar with. There was a Felix the Cat movie made in the 80s. Kinda sucks. Anime games. If I remember correctly, Azumanga Daioh got a game, but you were just, if I remember correctly, it was just shogi. No, it wasn't shogi. It was, oh, what's that game called? Oh, no, not, well, maybe, I don't know if Go's the name. It's the game where you've got, like, domino-like pieces, and you have to line them up in specific ways. But they're all, like, sitting up. They're not, like, laying down flat. Is that Go? Mahjong, thank you. That, I think it was a Mahjong game. Wow. Well, he's got about the same attack pattern as a Mega Man boss, but even less interesting. Slayers is an RPG with a fan translation. You know, it makes sense that that becomes a fan translation. What characters do you get? Oh. You're doing well, Felix, but soon your game will be over. Click. He just called me to taunt me? What, did Felix go home after every level? Lena and Naga, plus the party from the anime series, and a new character, too. Well, as long as I get to use Naga. Naga, the main party. Oh, that's right. Because she was only in the OVAs. It's a shame, too, because she's the best character, easily. Man, I have a lot of extra lives. For NES games, having more than like 7 lives is usually unheard of. I don't know what this machine thing is. Imagine a Captain N game. Ugh. With specifically those versions of the characters. You know what? It reminds me of how Street Fighter the movie got a video game. And they did the Mortal Kombat thing of using live actors to play the characters. Speaking of, there's another Street Fighter movie coming out. They announced it recently. I have to wonder... Dragon Ball Evolution. Well, if I want any Dragon Ball games, I've got the pick of the litter. There's so many of those. I own Dragon Ball Origins on the DS, actually. I don't have the second one, though. Wow, immediately after losing my power-up, I just get it back. Budokai 3 and Tenkaichi 3 both have fun and interesting campaigns. And I think there's also Dragon Ball Advance. It's, you know, I think it's a crying shame, though, that characters like Felix, which have been shown to have potential in the past, just kinda end up sitting in limbo with no one really wanting to do anything with him. But I guess part of that is that nobody really cares about him. Although it's one of those, I think it's one of those things where you gotta make someone care, you know? You gotta give them a reason to care. I mean, people sure cared a lot about Rayman when Captain Laserhawk came out. Although I think for some people, Rayman was the only reason they cared about Captain Laserhawk instead of the other way around. Makes room for... No, that's fair. It's just, sometimes it feels like... I don't know, sometimes it feels like they never really got the chance to really be, to really do as well as they could have. Oops. Well, that is definitely true. I know, you know, I've met a couple people who didn't want to play video games that looked old, when they'll play Undertale just fine. Usually it's kind of a hard sell to get people to watch cartoons that are, like, from the silent era. That's always been the hardest one for me to sell. And I can't deny, like, it's not that people don't want to watch cartoons that don't have dialogue. It's more that, like, they're just kind of slow. Well, that was easy. I will admit, a lot of old anime is it can be kind of hard for me to watch sometimes, mostly because, like, the pacing. It's the pacing. It's just... as I've grown older, I've kind of had a problem with how how anime can be paced sometimes. And I know that's just like a cultural difference, but sometimes I wish they'd just talk like a normal person. You know what I mean? And I've asked some people, it's like, is this just how people talk in Japanese, or do they just make it up for it in the end? It's like, no, people don't actually talk like this. It's just, that's how they talk. That's how, you know, characters express themselves in shows like this. I'm watching MHA, and the way characters kind of talk to each other it feels very stilted, you know? Like, that's an example, but, like, and the thing is, there are anime that don't do this, and I do enjoy those. I really like the way characters talk to each other in, like, Azumanga Daioh, for example. I find that comedy just helps the conversation flow a little bit better. But when I'm watching something action-oriented, which is a lot of the stuff that people will recommend me, it just feels very stilted and unnatural. Call Azumanga stilted. I actually really like Azumanga's English dub. That accent they gave, the accent they gave Osaka is usually enough for me to... Oh, he immediately just passes out. The accent they gave Osaka is usually enough for me to, like, be like, aw, oh, a dolphin. Okay, so my boat turned into a dolphin. But I guess I also, I know when it comes to MHA, though, as I'm watching it, I'm on season 2, I think. I just have a problem with the way that show... I have a problem with the way that show does its pacing in general. It feels like it takes forever for anything to happen. Like, they'll have 5 episodes on one tournament, and like, oh my gosh, we're still here. We're still just talking about the same things repeatedly. And then they'll have flashbacks to previous episodes in that arc sometimes. Or heaven forbid, a flashback to a previous season. And I'm like, oh, between all the flashbacks and the fact that everything moves at a snail's pace... Now we're on this part where they're in some compound. I think for me, though, like, one of those things I think about while I'm watching MHA, and I'm like, if somebody had a gun, like, all of these characters are like, cooked. Almost none of these people can take a bullet. I mean, I know sometimes shows just kind of have to write around stuff like that. Naruto, for example, straight up says that guns don't exist. Otherwise, like, Yeah, you know, good, nice ninjutsu, moron. Check this out. That's the other thing. I mean, and since none of these people have guns, well then, why the heck is anyone doing crime? There's heroes every 20 feet. How are there still people just stealing purses from old ladies? Can't be as controlled as guns are. But the thing is, superpowers are controlled. They have like a whole legal system. It's kind of like the Venture Brothers, but like they're taking it more serious. They write it in more seriously than how the Venture Brothers does it. Isn't there another? Shouldn't there be one more transformation? Oh, I guess not. The dolphin's the last one. Make it hard for a criminal to but you can't make it hard for them to use their superpower. Yeah. That's true. I mean, the criminals have superpowers too. Almost everybody in this world does. In a way, I'm watching it and I'm kind of almost wishing that... the show was just about Deku never getting powers. Like, I almost wish that he never got superpowers at all. Because I feel like that would have been, like, an interesting story about, like, a guy with no powers in a world where almost everybody else has it, but he manages to be a hero anyway. But not only does he get his superpowers, he's apparently the greatest boy who ever got superpowers, and now he works with, like, the greatest superhero of all time, and then he's going, you know? Like, obviously he works hard. They make that clear that he works hard to achieve what he wants to achieve, but I don't know. He still gets a lot of handouts, doesn't he? Oh, good. Okay, well, I'm on that part, the campground section, with the kid who doesn't like superheroes because they failed to rescue his parents. Which... yeah. If I could remember more of, like, what his actual criticisms were about it, I could probably make a more... What the heck is... Okay. Sure. Because, you know, there are lots of things in stories where it's like, you guys are causing us more problems than you're worth. You guys, you know, like, especially in Marvel. Marvel hates their superheroes. The people in Marvel are super ungrateful. They never like their they never like their heroes. I feel like a part of the thing that... I feel like the other thing is that, in the case of MHA's world, and I guess as well as the story too, there's so many different characters and so many different heroes running around to focus on. Like, there are so many heroes. I wonder just how can any individual one of these people be special when there's so many of them? You know what I mean? When 80% of the population has superpowers, and there's like whole government systems for all these people who want to be heroes, like, at that point, they're just cops with extra steps, right? Their job is to stop the other people who have... their job is to stop the other people who have superpowers from doing bad things. They're really just police officers with extra steps, right? Because it's not like they're fighting... It's, you know, because, like... Superman, for example, will have interplanetary invaders that he's got to deal with, right? Or sometimes people will gain powers without. I have no idea what this thing is. Blob? Well, now I died. Oh, you go back to the beginning of the level. Okay. I guess that's a chance to power yourself back up again. Oh, no, not the beginning. Okay, so, like, right here. I think just the... I just think that, like, the concept of a superhero kind of doesn't work when... The concept of a superhero kind of doesn't work when everybody's a superhero. Especially since it's in a school, right? That means the thing that makes your character... That means the thing that makes our hero special isn't really all that special, because their goals are very similar to a lot of other people who want to be heroes. Their powers are, powers are seen as incredibly normal. And why do they don't need costumes anyway, but that's just something they do. It's not like they need secret identities. That's true. That's a ton of quirks are pretty much useless. Which makes me wonder how Mineta got into that school. I hate Mineta. I hate that character. He sucks. Every time he's on screen, he's never providing anything of value. Can't control myself anymore. Trying to take the idea and make it make sense. You know what? I can follow that idea. Yeah. My favorite parts of the show so far, though, have been when Deku and All Might are working together, and I almost wish that was the entire show. Like, I would have liked it if this was just a story about a hero trying to pass on the torch to the next generation. But really, the fact that this is about a school, and this is about, like, an entire generation of supers, just... I don't know. And I guess the sad thing is I feel like Sky High did this concept way more interestingly in way less time on a Disney Channel movie budget. This thing owes anime an earlier. No, I'm more so just... I don't know, I guess I'm more so just have a complaint about shonen that I'm kind of attributing to a lot of anime in general. Because I find that shonen pacing tends to annoy me. I just really don't vibe with shonen in general, I suppose. A lot of the tropes just aren't for me. I find tournament arcs to be really dull. But it's a thing a lot of these artists like to do. Because, I loved those... I loved the Slayers OVAs. I thought those were really fun. mean, my favorite anime, I guess it's funny because my favorite anime feel like nothing but filler. I love Azumanga Daioh, I love Nichijou, I love Lucky Star. And those are shows that are about nothing. I watched the entirety of K-On! When I was a teenager. That's also a show just about a lot of nothing. But I like that, so you know, maybe it's not that it's paced slow. Maybe it's just something else. I feel like half the time I'm watching MHA, I'm screaming at the screen for the characters to just like think of a more obvious solution. Padding out shots to make last longer. Oh yeah. The number of times they'll have to remind you what a character's quirk is in MHA is really annoying to me. I understand that, like, for a weekly thing, this is less of a problem, but you'd think for the Blu-rays or releases, they might want to cut back on that. I hope, but in terms of characters that they do have, Uraraka is really boring. She's kind of got nothing going on for her. She's just a girl. And I know that's a problem in a lot of shonen, where the girl character is just a girl. Tsuyu doesn't have a lot going on either, but I think her powers are more interesting to watch, so, you know, there's that. Bakugo's really annoying, but I've heard that he gets better, so I guess we'll see what happens. It's just, this guy has no reason to act like the way he does. No one calls him out on it, and he's just allowed to be that way. The most he gets is like a, hey, don't you think you should tone it down a little bit from time to time? You know, and then of course there's my aforementioned disdain for... Grape Boy. Okay. Well, maybe I'll get more used to it with time. Who is this? Okay, I didn't know Felix had a doppelganger. I gotta look up who this guy is. Let's see. Poindexter, Rock Bottom, Master Cylinder, that was his... Oh, that fish guy was actually from the cartoon. His name is Gulpo. Oh, okay. Okay, so the other dude's name is Alex the Cat. He's a cousin from Australia. And he steals his girlfriend. Alright, Alex the Cat. There you go. Alright, sure. How much of this game is left? It looks like there's about 3 worlds left. This isn't a long game at all. I'm sitting pretty with 23 lives right now. Not much in the way of challenge. Burger King has free cinnamon rolls today. That might just be in your area. I don't know if I have that. Besides, I don't really want to go to Burger King anyways. They're pretty lousy, they just have good app deals. I will agree with that. I generally go just for the fact, just because they have onion rings. I really like onion rings. One place I actually do like is Arby's. I actually do really like Arby's roast beef sandwiches. And their curly fries and onion rings are good too. But yeah, you know, that's Wicker's. That was Wicker's MHA rant. Hopefully I won't do that again anytime soon, but I guess, you know, overall when it comes to anime, I'm more interested in the stuff that's different. There, like cartoons everywhere else, there is a lot of shows that are just really derivative of each other, you know? And it's because that, like, they have a market that's specifically tailored for this. It just, sometimes it feels like there's just so many... Sometimes with anime shows that come out, like, seasonally, there's just so many, like, copies of the same idea that I just lose interest, you know? It doesn't help that even fan bases, like, shrink everything down into individual tropes, so characters just get fit into individual boxes. I need to watch City. I've heard really good things about City. Ugh. Guess I'm just gonna jump over that guy. Or maybe not. Does it? Interesting. But honestly, as far as like deconstructions of superheroes go, I really find Venture Bros to be a more interesting take for me personally, but their perception of superheroes is very different from how MHA is doing it, you know? There's not a lot of superhero stuff. There's not a lot of anime about superheroes. They do superhero things, but the character's not framed as a superhero, you know? I've been warned about solo leveling. Kitty. Okay, I guess that's Kitty. I suppose it's pretty telling, though, for me, is I know quite a bit about Dragon Ball, but my real first experience actually trying to engage with it was when I watched Abridged. And I know that's a lot of people are kind of like that, and it does frustrate fans. But the rest of it I mostly learned through my friends who had seen Dragon Ball, because I got, like, enough of an understanding to have conversations about it, even though I knew what I saw wasn't exactly what happened. Although there were some cases where I did get things wrong because I assumed something in the Abridged actually did happen that way. Like what? I assumed that the wish they made at the end of the Namek saga to bring everybody back was for all the people Frieza's army killed. But I think the wish wasn't exactly worded that way. They changed the wording in Abridged so that they could, like, make up a reason to bring Nappa back. But that didn't happen. I knew Nappa didn't come back, but I didn't know the wish wasn't worded that way. I assumed that Goku did have a heart attack, and it's not a heart attack, it's an unexplained disease. Obviously, it wasn't caused by high cholesterol. It was way more of a stretch in the original. Well, as far as I'm aware, Nappa didn't even come back at all, so it's not like that was a thing that happened. Guru was revived because he died of a broken heart due to Frieza's actions. I didn't know that. Dragon Ball also has a special interest in me due to the dichotomy of it starting as a comedy series and then going as a comedy adventure series and then going all in on the fights after the tournament arcs started to get really popular. And then introducing, like, a bunch of random aliens should have been one of the most ridiculous things ever. Like, oh, all of a sudden our main character is an alien? Alright. But no, everyone just goes along with it. One thing I do miss, though, is some of the old Dragon Ball stuff is, like, where are all the animal people and where are all the dinosaurs? What happened to them? Well, in one of the... I think this is one of the games that's, like, supposed to be actually canonical to the series. They said that at least for the Beast People, the reason they turned that way was due to a medicine that became very popular that turned them into, like, animal people hybrids. Then the medicine became less popular, and so they just kind of disappeared, I guess because they just started dying off. Which I think is kind of lame. Might have been in Kakarot. Am I gonna be fighting 3 Poindexters? The thought just occurred to me that Dexter and Dexter's Lab might have been named because of Poindexter. Not the character, just the word Poindexter. How do you get up there? Oh. If Megane was still Megane, it'd be called Four Eyes or something. Yeah, see, that's like another sort of thing, too. Lots of characters are literally named after... The characters in these shows are named after, like, tropes. Like, Megane is a trope in itself. A girl with glasses. Which is just kind of a... To me, that's so strange. That, like, yeah, this character wears glasses, and that's what we're gonna name them after. That's their gimmick. But then again, the Americans made... It was a parody situation, to say, because the characters went off background characters in the manga. I think a show I actually want to watch, get back to watching, is Ranma 1/2. I started watching it, and then I don't remember how far into it I got. The original, by the way, not the reboot that came out recently. You know, cozy is a good word to describe Ranma. And most of it's played for laughs, so I don't mind too much about what happens. But it does... You know, their, like, romance story does progress kind of slowly. Felix, you did a good job getting here, but this will be our last battle. Oh, I guess we're in the final world. You think it progresses. It doesn't progress, does it? I also kind of don't care about the dad. He's a lot more funny or interesting as a panda than as a person. I wasn't expecting the space controls to be swimming controls. Wow, there's nothing going on. Lots of screens where nothing is happening. It's a toned-down version of a horribly unlikable dad character in Urusei. Oh! One-hit deaths! Okay, should have seen that coming. So if I let the hearts run out on the transformation, Felix just dies. I guess because he's got no spacesuit anymore. He's got nothing protecting him. I mean, that makes sense. I just wasn't expecting that. Oh my gosh. Maybe I should stay near the back. No, I gotta stay near the middle. My son Eco's only really solid work. It's his engaging, developing romance story. It's just a lot drier than something like Ranma. Much more King of the Hill-ish. You know what anime I actually did see recently that I actually really do like? I really liked, Beastars. I thought that the story was gripping. However, it's kind of a case that shows kind of a case where they kind of forgot what the point of their own show was. They introduced the concept of being the Beast Star, which is this animal that's supposed to represent the union between herbivores and carnivores. And they just kind of dropped that plot point to focus on Yakuza stuff. But, however, the characters' storylines are really engaging, so I kind of don't mind. I think Legoshi's a very likable protagonist. I think his goals make sense. Dang it. I am not doing great on this level. Well, I've got a lot of chances to do it. Problem is, I have no idea how far in I am. These enemies do just kind of come out of nowhere, which is really funny because this has been a game full of, like, really simple platforming. Oh, never mind, there's the end. Okay. Ooh, I do know about Dr. Stone, never watched it. The concept is interesting. Where this guy is like the only it's like a post-apocalyptic... Yeah, it's some sort of post-apocalypse that caused everybody to like forget everything, and he's the one who remembers. When I was in high school, I used to watch a lot of romance anime because I was lonely. I watched, Achikochi. What else did I watch? I watched Achikochi, I watched... Bunny Girl Senpai, whatever the whole title is. That's actually a really interesting and good show. Don't let the fact that there's, like, a teenage girl in a Playboy bunny outfit turn you away. I'm so sad that Beastars is gonna take like another year for its finale to come out. That's another thing I like about Beastars. It's gonna only have 4 seasons. Yes, I don't need a show to go on for a million years. Excuse me. That's what really turns me off from watching these long-running animes, just the number of episodes. And then you'll have someone tell you, it starts off kind of bad, but like, episode 50 is where it starts to get good. I'm like, I gotta wait that long? Shoot. Okay. It's by the daughter of the Baki author. I hate Baki. I will say this. I do not enjoy Baki. Everything I've seen about it just feels like the author going, nuh-uh, my character's more powerful, like a million times. And I don't know if I'm supposed to find it funny or not. It also looks disgusting, but that's... But, you know, it also looks pretty gross, but I'm pretty open to differing art styles, so I wouldn't necessarily consider that a negative. Alright, well, guess I can't get that. Oh. Alright, I guess this is the last level. One Piece and MH, I do feel like they're always progressing towards a specific goal despite their length. I'll say that. They usually lay out the stakes pretty early. And that does feel nice. I imagine watching something like the Cell Saga is a lot more interesting because, you know, for someone who would be into that, would be watching the Cell Saga and be like, oh, we know the stakes now, so who knows, like, what's gonna happen to get to that point, you know? Okay. Yeah. DBZ does just keep... DBZ is... Everything that you can complain about with Shonen was probably started by DBZ. It's like the grandfather of this stuff. Characters getting random power-ups out of nowhere. People taking way too long to, like, finish attacking. Stupid name attacks, although in Dragon Ball's case, it was on purpose. I tend to find Dragon Ball more interesting when they lean more into their comedic elements, when they lean more into, like, where they came from. Wow, they're actually giving you health refills. Oh, he just floats over you. Well, that's that. I really don't care about points that much. Oh, and there's Kitty. Congratulations. At last, Felix, you rescued Kitty. I love you, Felix. Thanks. That was an hour. They weren't kidding. This game is really easy. I guess it's not necessarily a bad thing, but I'm sure if I bought this back in the day, I would have felt super ripped off. Oh, is that it? It's one of those games where I think you have to turn off the... Yeah. Alright, well, that's Felix the Cat. No credits. And there's a new high score for you. I bet it doesn't save the high score as soon as you tune the game off. 1992. Wow. Why didn't this come out on Super Nintendo? I mean, there's a reason it just looks like Mario 3. A lot of late NES platformers just look like Mario 3. Who is that person at the E? I don't remember seeing them in the game at all. No idea who that guy is. Oh well. Well, that was Felix the Cat. A very, very short game. A fun time for an hour, but I would have absolutely felt ripped off if I bought this back in 1992 for like $50. Tiny Toons is on the opposite end. Oh, which one? The one on the NES? Or the one on the Super Nintendo? Yeah. Oof. Well, that's it for this game, then. Nice quick stream. Don't need it to go on forever. Well, that was actually fun. I had a good time. It was nice to talk about with a game that I barely had to pay any attention to. So I'm gonna look for what's next. Maybe I'll try to see if I can get something based on an anime and play that. Maybe I will try that Slayers RPG. I looked it up just now to see. They have a tabletop RPG that I came across. But I didn't see any, like, game. Slayers D20. Yeah, it's, Alright, so, hold on. Let me see. The Slayers video game. Slayers 1994 role-playing game adapted from the light novel. Oh, okay, so maybe that's what... Yeah. Yeah, alright. Yeah, I see that. Maybe I could try one of the Disney games. I got Aladdin. I've played through Aladdin, and that's on Genesis anyway. I haven't played through the Super Nintendo one before. Alright, well, I'll think about what's next. I don't have anything set in stone. We'll be back on Thursday.